FS1 College Hoops Tip-Off is sponsored by Ford. Going further so you can. Welcome to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And the Wells Fargo Center, where tonight the 5th-ranked Villanova Wildcats host the Nicholls Colonels. And hello, everyone. Rich Ackman along with Donnie Marshall. And Donnie, the defending Big East champs, go for their second straight after an up-and-down performance in their opener Friday.
You know, Jay Wright is dealing with something he hasn't had to in a long time. That's relying on some young players. They're going to come along. He's confident in that. But this is a good game for them. Nicholls is a senior-laden team. They're going to get it up and down and shoot a lot of threes.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First for the Nicholls Colonels, and they're brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Tavon Sadler, Lafayette Ruffledge, Zaquavian Smith, Roddy Peters, and the big man in the middle, Legend Roberton. For the Villanova Wildcats, they line up this way with the Big East Player of the Year, Jalen Brunson, Phil Booth, Mikal Bridges, Eric Paschal, and the fabulous freshman, Omari Spellman. So set to go here at the Wells Fargo Center. Both teams winning their opener. Villanova outlasting Columbia Friday, 75-60. And Nicholls a winner as well in its season opener. Villanova controls the tip and quickly is Bridges, and he lays it up and in.
Pace is going to be important in this game for both teams, really, but Villanova's not going to back down from playing fast, that's for sure.
And we have steps called on Tavon Sadler. Villanova led wire to wire in their win on Friday to open up against the Columbia Lions out of the Ivy League. A good start for this team after going 32-4 last year and losing to Wisconsin in the second round of the tournament. Here's Phil Booth, who played 29 minutes after missing the final 33 games of last year. Bridges using the screen. Here's Paschal. Paschal taking it right at the big man, gets his own rebound but can't control, and we come the other way with Sadler bringing it across. There's Roddy Peters going to the glass and in.
Yeah, I like the play by Paschal at the other end. Last year he would have settled, taking a three-pointer. He's making an effort to get to the rim. You should see a lot of that in this game, especially posting up in the half court.
Beginning his second full season as a Wildcat after transferring from Fordham, where he was the Atlantic 10 Freshman of the Year. The Big East preseason Freshman of the Year, Omari Spellman, off with his first shot. Booth finds Spellman. Nice move by Spellman down low.
I love the patience. I like the ball movement. Obviously, it's important for the veterans on this Villanova team to get Omari Spellman going early in games, just to make sure he knows he's comfortable and he's needed.
Spellman looked like he had a little tough transition getting used to things in the first half. Came alive in the second half. A two-pointer by Zaquavian Smith, and that gives Nicholls its 4th point. We are tied at 4.
Well, that's going to be probably the biggest challenge for Villanova, guarding off the dribble.
Booth off the mark from 3, and the rebound to Lafayette Rutledge.
I mean, essentially Nicholls is playing 4 out, 1 in, and that's what happens when you respect the shooting to get you up in the air. You know, very similar to what Villanova has done the last few years. You know, they catch it, they get you up in the air, and then they put it on the floor.
Richie Riley in his second season at Nicholls after serving as an assistant at Clemson, also served as an assistant at UAB as well. Well-traveled, very young coach, just 33 years old. Here's Peters this time going left and off the mark.
I can tell I'm getting older because Richie Riley actually had the nerve to ask me if I played at Boston College. Close. I said, please do not swear at me like that, Coach.
New England.
You know I'm talking about your team tonight. You're not off to a good start here. But it was great talking to Coach Riley before the game, just because he understands what's happening here, playing against the number 5 team. And Jay Wright, you know, these are games that I think you have to pay more attention to early in the season. A team that can put up a lot of points in a hurry playing against Nicholls.
Right now in his 17th season, the team of coaches in the Big East. And there's Booth. So Phil Booth off to the fast start after playing 29 minutes on Friday, as we mentioned, in his first game back after missing the final 33 last year, and it gives Villanova the 2-point lead. And Sadler connects from the foul line.
And the other thing that's important for people to understand is that, you know, when you have a team like Nicholls with a lot of seniors, and not just a lot of seniors, but guys who have transferred in, who have already been at 1 and 2 schools, they're playing with the mindset of this is my last chance to make a push, to be something in college basketball. Huge game for these guys.
Quick release for Rutledge, and it's off the mark. 6 transfers on this Nicholls State team, 10 new players in all.
But a ton of seniors, and that's what Richie Riley said to me before the game. Our motto is burn the boats. And that basically means conquer or be killed. You take out all your fears. There's one thing we need to do, and that's win.
Spellman backing his way in, and he'll go to the line as he was fouled.
And that's a part of Villanova's game this year that I think they're going to be better at in the interior. Even, you know, no disrespect to Daniel Achepu, I think he was more of a point center. Omari Spellman can really score in the low post. He can face up as well, but he has great length, great size, and Jay Wright is going to make a concerted effort to tell his guys, throw the ball inside. That's just going to open up so many more options for their perimeter shooters.
Spellman was an academic redshirt last year and took the time to get in better shape, lost 37 pounds. The foul was on Kamani Jackson, his first. And Spellman knocks down both to make it an 8-6 game. Kevin Johnson handing to Sadler. A lot of substitutions early as Javon Powell just in the game as well. Quick release for Rutledge, and he's off the mark. Rebound for Spellman.
And that's the guy you really have to dial in on. Rutledge is a big-time shooter, big-time scorer, can get you buckets late in the clock, probably better than anyone on this Nicholls team.
57 of his 62 attempts last year were from three-point range, and there's Brunson slipping inside.
And just when everything starts getting fancy with the long-range shots and behind the backs and all that, you get a guy who gets back down to fundamentals and Jalen Brunson.
There's Sadler working on Bridges. Finds Kevin Johnson cut off baseline. Picks it out for Jackson. Deep three for Sadler, and that hits nothing. Run down by Brunson. Villanova by 4. 4.5 minutes gone by in this first half. From the Wells Fargo Center, Rich Ackerman, Donnie Marshall with you. Spellman again backing down Sadler. And he kicks it out. Pascal for 3. Too strong, and there's Spellman again. Great ball movement. A wide open shot for Bridges, and he knocks it down.
It's been a staple of Villanova in the last 4 or 5 years, unselfishness. Giving up a good shot to get a great one.
A 7-0 run for the Wildcats, and it's 13-6. Jackson over DiVincenzo, and he banks it in.
Hey, no style points.
You have to call that. 2
points is 2 points. I don't think so.
So that ends the run and cuts the deficit down to 5. Bridges, who's the defensive stopper on this team, one of them being hounded at the other end. Bridges again for 3, and he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, that's a cardinal sin. You leave the guy who just made the pass, and he makes you pay.
Rutledge fouled by Pascal, so he'll go to the line for 3 when we come back. But a fast start for the Wildcats.
Love it. Jalen Brunson back to his old ways. 2-foot jump stop, get you in the air, fundamentally sound, and then the unselfishness. Swing, swing. Mr. Bridges knocking it down for 3.
2 conferences steeped in basketball tradition. The Big Ten, the Big East. Tip off for early season bragging rights. The Gavitt tip-off games, Wednesday and Thursday on FS1.
We're going further so you can. Our keys to success are sponsored by SoFi, offering smart solutions to help you reach your financial goals. And Donnie, your keys to success.
Yeah, if you're Nicholls, you got to spread it out. Spread the floor. Don't let the size and the length of Villanova affect you, knocking down shots. And you got to speed up the pace. Get up and down. Richie Riley before the game told me they want to play fast. They want to shoot at least 25 to 33s, if not more. For Nova, keep the ball in front. You're playing against smaller guards, 4-guard lineups. Got to keep the ball in front of you. And you know what? they've done it so far. Omari Spellman, Pascal, you name it. Bridges, play big. They're doing that so far, Villanova.
Well, they've been able to hit inside and outside. And speaking of outside, Nicholls likes to shoot the three. So far, 0 for 3 from three-point range.
That's nothing for them, though. You know, shooters, they don't. You just can't have a conscience. You gotta just keep shooting. As soon as you make one, you say, see, all that happened before didn't matter.
As Lafayette Rutledge goes to the line, and he's off the mark. So a very good three-point shooter comes up short on the first of his 3 attempts.
Yeah, and an 82% foul shooter last season. So this is a spot that he'll be kicking himself later, even when you miss one and you miss 2.
Certainly not the norm. You know, we're here at the Wells Fargo Center as the pavilion is being renovated this year. Does the
different shooting?
Yeah, does
different
the depth,
building to shoot in.
As he hits 1 of 3 to make it 16-9.
Everything's shinier. It's, you know, it's, even though it's a bigger building, they seem more in your face because of the signage.
Long pass, touchdown for Bridges. He throws it down.
But how about that? The team's best athlete, in my opinion, Dante DiVincenzo, throwing that ball length of the court for a touchdown.
Boy, Bridges has done it all so far. 3-pointers, getting out, and then right there, the defensive play. Pascal going strong to the hoop. Eric Pascal with a strong move, and he makes it an 11-point lead.
When you play a team like Nicholls, a lot of emphasis put on their offense, but can they defend you is really the question for Jay Wright. And I think the answer is no. We don't believe that a Nicholls team can defend us at any position. Put it on the floor, get to the rim.
There's Roddy Peters off the mark, and DiVincenzo crashing the boards. Booth from long range. Back comes Nicholls. Sadler picks up his dribble. Powell from 3 off the mark, and long rebound comes out to Pascal. That's one thing, you know, the long rebounds coming out, and Villanova's off and running.
It gives you a chance, if you contest the correct way, get a hand up on those long-range shooters. Makes it a lot easier in transition, moving that ball ahead.
DiVincenzo backing his way over Kevin Johnson and uses the glass.
And that's what we talk about when you say play big. There's your, really, it could be your shooting guard with this lineup posting up.
Sadler comes back. And now the Colonels in double figures with 11.
And I see what Nicholls is trying to do. They're just trying to slow it down a little bit, but you got to retreat.
DiVincenzo left alone off the mark. And here comes Powell into the front court. Sadler thought about it and called for the travel. So wholesale substitutions right here.
I mean, this pass is on the money. Look at that tight spiral. Bridges doesn't have to put it on the floor. That is just textbook. Out of bounds under. You take off, I'll hit you.
If Carson Wentz wasn't having such a good year for the Eagles,
that's right.
Doug Peterson might want to contact him. DiVincenzo at about 6'5", 220 or so.
That's a good-sized quarterback.
Absolutely. It's one thing about these Villanova players, put together very, very well. Great weight training program here. Here's Spellman from 3, and he hits.
I think a lot of people thinking about Omari Spellman coming in who didn't really know much about him thought, oh, he's just a big man down low. He has great range, great touch, terrific rebounder. You can always tell that by an offensive rebound and soft hands. And again, Nicholls just in a hurry. The defense chasing him down. Nova doing a terrific job of running guys off the line. Again, ball movement. Omari Spellman from deep. Villanova in control here at Wells Fargo.
So Dave here is taking the family up to the lake for the weekend.
College Hoops on FS1 is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Right here at Wells Fargo Center, it's Villanova on top by 14 early thanks to Mikal Bridges.
Well, his length, we know what he does defensively. Has done a great job over the summer talking to Jay Wright. Got a chance to watch them practice last week. Mikal just extending his game, working on his ball handling, his perimeter shooting. Defensively, it's instinctually just in him. He's going to be able to do that. He has the length. a God-given ability to be able to do that. Offensively, I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid, really is. Plays with a great head on his shoulders.
And when NBA scouts come to look at him, you could certainly point to the defense. That's one quality. You know, the shot will come, but if you could play defense and you have that wingspan and athleticism that he has, and that makes scouts very happy.
Terrific body type. The last time they've had a body type that could do it at both ends, like Mikal Bridges, is Kerry Kittles. It's been a long time since then.
And Bridges even bigger.
Yeah.
Colin Gillespie wearing number 2, the freshman, checks in.
Can't shoot it like Kerry just yet. I was teammates with Kerry in New Jersey, so I want to give a former teammate some love there.
Booth puts it on the floor and kicks it out. Down to 3 on the shot clock. DiVincenzo's going to have to throw it up.
Bailed out.
And he is
fouled. Are they going to give him 3 for that?
They are.
Wow.
Roddy Peters called for the foul.
But what a great play by Dante DiVincenzo to recognize. You hear guys yelling at you, but everyone's yelling. Get that thing up towards the basket. Now you're shooting 3. Heads up play.
And now we have
I think they're going to
conversation there.
Was he already in the act of shooting, or was he hit first and then shooting it after the contact? That has to be the question.
And did he get it off in time? And it is going to be 3 free throws.
Yeah, you ride a guy up underneath him.
He just did get it off in time. I think Richie Riley wants a little bit of a makeup call, though.
Mike Stevens, one of the best, not just in the Big East, but in the country, at really getting things right. You know, officials get a bad rap. But probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and one of the best refs.
DiVincenzo, a 70% free throw shooter, hits the first to extend the lead to 15. And makes it 16 with 2.
I think this is the pace that Nicholls wants. I just think there's a lot of lapses defensively. The size is really affecting Nicholls defensively.
Villanova 10 of 18 from the field so far.
7 of those baskets, of their 10 baskets, were assisted.
And turned away by Spellman. Here comes Brunson. And Brunson's tied up, and he's being called for the travel. There's the makeup. Perhaps.
I thought this was going to be a tie-up, but this was no tie-up at all. You attack a big like that and you lead with the ball, bad things are going to happen to you.
So Quavian Smith just a little too aggressive on that one. That was the first Villanova turnover, and we're more than 9 minutes in. And a turnover, the 4th of this first half so far for Nicholls.
And it depends on how you look at it. Bad offense by Nicholls, miscommunication, or did that miscommunication happen because of the overplaying on the wings and good defense by Nova?
So Villanova will take over after Nicholls turning it over for the 3rd time in its last 4 trips. So the Nova defense starting to become a factor here. The Wildcats up 17. Here's Spellman. He's been confident so far with that jump hook. Roberton got a piece of that one.
Yeah, Legend Roberton, one of the best shot blockers that you've never heard of, really. He knows how to meet that ball high, block shots without fouling.
7'1" out of London, was at Clemson with Richie Riley, and then went with him to Nicholls.
If your first name is Legend, you better be good at something.
There's Legend, who can't hold on. The pass was a little behind him.
It's just a bad pass. You got to lead your big guy to the basket. You can't throw it behind him.
Unless you're wearing those wide receiver gloves.
Right.
Those somehow have a way of catching everything. DiVincenzo takes it from Brunson, now gives back. Gillespie left alone. A little too strong on that one. Hot potato and a collision, and it's going to go the other way. Gillespie's going to be called for the foul.
Yeah, the only issue that he had there was that he shot it and backed up. He didn't follow the shot. If he would initially fouled this, he would have probably picked that ball up before a black uniform got there.
He'll get there, just a freshman playing in his 2nd game.
He fits, though. already against Columbia, I really thought he was a guy, his body's got to come along, and he'll get that. You know, he'll get stronger, and he'll start eating those bad meals late at night, the Twinkies and all that, the cookies. It'll put some weight on him. But he fits in.
I hope he shares the Twinkies with me.
You should probably give him a couple of your pounds.
I think you're right. He's 6'2", 185.
You don't have to tell us what you are, Richie.
I'm not 6'2". Roberton was fouled by Spellman. Make that Bridges gets called for the foul. Peters trying to find the seam, kicks it out, and again from three, Rutledge off the mark as he just can't get it to go down.
Well, that's the key defensively. If you're playing against a team like Nicholls, who takes a lot of threes, I mean, they live and they die by it.
They took 33 in their season opening win. Hit 14. Taking off is Pascal, and he's bumped in the lane.
But you see there, Pascal he gets it. I mean, he catches it, sees the defense running at him, puts it on the floor, goes right by him. He's done that a couple times already in this first half.
You know, we talk about this system that Villanova plays, and Eric Pascal pretty much played out of position last year. And here's Pascal driving.
I mean, come on.
Pascal finding the way to the basket.
It's not fair, man. It's just not fair.
Patience rewarded. Peters, and there's Bridges with the block. Another block by Bridges. A third block, this time by Spellman. What a sequence for the Wildcats inside. And getting the approval from the crowd.
Look, they're not just a pretty offensive team, Villanova. They take pride in their defense. We showed you one there, but trust me, folks, it was a block party.
And this time, they throw it into the backcourt. So Sadler brings it across using the screen. Sadler going 1-on-2, and DiVincenzo, but he got him with the body this time.
But a better job. Tavon Sadler leads with his body. And when those shot blocks are coming, it's because you're leading with the ball. That was just a much better attack of the basket.
Villanova already with 6 blocks on the night. Here's Tavon Sadler, transfer from UNC Greensboro. And off the mark, 88%, or he was 8 for 8, I should say, from the line in the season opener. Led the way for the Colonels with 19.
He was UNC Greensboro. He was third team All-Southern Conference at one point. Played 2 seasons there, so a terrific, terrific player.
An opportunity to cut into that large deficit, and he comes up short at the free throw line, and Brunson was hit going up.
Tell you what, I know a lot of players out there want to run and jump and off of 1 foot and try to bend around guys, but you can't say enough of the value of that 2-footed jump stop, you know? And Jalen Brunson does such a good job of getting himself under control. Get you under control. He also gives you the opportunity to now head fake, pass the ball, shoot it, whatever it might be.
Kamani Jackson picked up the foul. Brunson, who started as Ryan Arcidiacono's understudy, now the leader of this team in his junior season. And rounded out. But Pascal is there. Again, great ball movement by Villanova. With Brunson on the pull-up.
It's the other part of it. You know, as much as the nation who didn't know much about Arcidiacono talking about him, they got tired of it. They're going to get tired of hearing everyone talk about Brunson.
And Amir Cosby Roundtree just into the game, and everybody's getting involved early. Villanova up by 24 with 8:14 left in this first half. For the, not only is defense turning into offense, but the Offensive glass as well.
Rich, come on. One dribble pull up, you get the defense rocking backwards, and then you get your rookie involved, especially when he struggled the first game. Cosby, Roundtree finishing strong.
First half.
Richie Riley has to get his team together. Their body language says so much. And obviously when you see numbers like that on the other side, you would hang your head a little bit, but there's a ton of game left. And Richie Riley believes his team can make some shots. They can score points in a hurry.
Well, they're 5 of 17 from the field. They're 0 of 5 from three-point range. And on the other end, Villanova right now shooting over 56%.
The problem is this. This is the problem. The last 10 trips, they got 6 turnovers, Nicholls.
Second turnover from Villanova. At the other end, Peters, and able to get it in as Pascal was flanking.
Man, maybe you can try to put a couple of things together. The crowd's out of it. Completely quiet in here. Crowd's almost bored with how well their team is playing.
And Pascal lost it, so back-to-back turnovers for Villanova.
These Villanova fans, they're all jaded. The monster that guy right there has created.
Well, he has built quite a program. 2016 NCAA champs, Big East regular season champs the last 4 years. And they begin this week ranked 5th in the nation in the latest AP poll. They've been in the AP top 25 every week since December of 2013.
And I believe this team is better than their last 2 teams. I really do believe that. More depth, more length defensively. I think they can be a better team.
The only question they have right now is the guys they lost, Josh Hart, Chris Jenkins, and Darrell Reynolds, were such integral parts of this program. They have the talent. It's just who accepts or takes on that leadership role.
And the vocal leadership they lost. You know, Jalen Brunson's not an overly boisterous guy, but he may have to figure out a little bit of that along with his play.
Legend Roberton, and the big guy not only goes down to get it, he goes down and puts it down.
Go big fella. He hasn't gotten many touches of throwing the ball behind him, throwing it at his knees. He earned that basket.
Villanova becoming a little sloppy with the basketball in the last couple of trips.
I told you the energy in this building is completely gone. You see their team up 20, and now it's like, what do we do now? Everyone's gone for hot dogs and beer.
I'm okay with that. Just the hot dogs part. Be a soda too. And the foul goes on Javon Powell. 16th foul on the Nicholls Colonels. Mikal Bridges and Eric Pascal check back in. DiVincenzo and Brunson go to the bench, and Gillespie comes back in with a 20-point lead. Outstanding opportunity for Jay Wright to get some of his freshmen and younger players some experience right here.
Yeah, the kid I really like watching him in a couple of practices, Jermaine Samuels.
There's Bridges, and Bridges undercut. Oh, that could have been ugly, but Bridges lands okay, and will go to the line. And the foul goes on Sadler. That's his second. And Bridges, a 91% free throw shooter.
I'm talking to Jay before the game about his freshman Jermaine Samuels, Colin Gillespie, and Demir Cosby Roundtree. Sometimes, and I told him this is what I went through, and I do, before you say anything, Rich, I do remember this far back. You try to squeeze a 40-minute game into the 3 minutes you're playing, and you're just going too fast, and the timing of it is what the freshmen are going to have to try to figure out in this system.
Bridges hits both to make it a 22-point game. Here's Roberton, and he gets nothing on that one.
That's good defense, though. You push your guy from 5 feet out to 8 feet, and it makes all the difference in the world for a player who's really not an offensive player.
Villanova by 22 in this first half. 6.5 left. There's Phil Booth working on Powell. Booth out of control, and the turnover. Here comes Peters the other way. Peters takes it himself, and the block, but it's going to go. His goaltending. So again, it's a 20-point deficit.
Look, this is a great setup for Nicholls right now. Building's quiet. Villanova's flat the last 2 minutes or so. Now's the time to make your push.
Could have been worse on that possession, but Villanova able to avoid the contact and just gets the goaltending call, and will stay Villanova basketball as DiVincenzo and Brunson check back in.
And one of the issues that Jay Wright's going to have to be able to figure out how to work through when Jalen Brunson's not on the floor, you know, who's going to go out there and do what they're supposed to do? You know, he's having a conversation with Gillespie and Booth right now about running that point position. That's great work right there, but sloppy basketball, like you said a few minutes ago, for Villanova.
Nice slide down by Spellman. Spellman forced it, kept alive, and a foul underneath. And it looks like it's going to go on the freshman. It is. That's his first. Just the 15th team foul for Villanova so far in this first half. This one was tied at 6. Since then, 29-11 run. The Wildcats down low. Peters doesn't get it to go. And here comes DiVincenzo the other way.
Yeah, it always kills me when a big fella brings the ball down below his knees when all you have to do is go up really quick. So why would you want to make yourself the same size as Jalen Brunson right there? Because that's what happens. He sees Jalen Brunson, he goes down, and now here comes Bridges from behind.
7th block of the night for Villanova. DiVincenzo will go to the line. He had a terrific end to his season a year ago. He misses the free throw. What a postseason he had, trying to carry it over into this season. Here's Peters over DiVincenzo, and Bridges with the rebound. 37-17, Villanova in front. Spellman, nice pass for DiVincenzo.
Thought he missed the moment, and he had it immediately. I think DiVincenzo slowed up a little bit to make that pass receivable, if you will.
And Brunson's called for the foul. How about the first half this time around for Amari Spellman?
Rich, this is what I'm talking about here. That play was set up because DiVincenzo obviously was overplayed, but he slowed down because if he went full speed, Spellman would have missed him cutting to the basket.
A much different start to his second game as the first. 2 of 5 from the field, 3 rebounds so far, and the nice assist there by the freshman, Amari Spellman. Nice spin move over Pascal, but it comes up short as Sadler once again. The aggressive move to the basket, but just not falling for him. Brunson blows by Powell and blows by everybody to lay it in.
You just can't play up that far, that close up to a guy some 40 feet from the basket.
41-17 and now 41-20 as Aquavian Smith hits the 3. That's a much needed confidence boost for this Colonels team right now. Here's Pascal, and score it, and the foul. Boy, everything going Villanova way. And you talked about the body language. Guys hanging their heads right now for Nicholls. They don't know what hit them.
Well, the other thing, too, for Nicholls, and it happens throughout games, is there's no communication. You know, good or bad. You know, no one's pointing. No one's telling the other guy, get back on defense. At some point, you got to yell at a teammate. And, again, you talked about how many new guys on this team. They may be a little affected by that. You know, not that comfortable, second game in, big crowd. They don't want to yell at a guy.
Spellman called for the foul. And on the other end, you have a program that is established, that has a formula and a lot of experience, if not as much as last year.
Oh, you have a culture.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. And Richie Riley told me before the game, he's trying to build a culture. And sometimes when you have this many transfers, it's difficult. But he said, you know what, our motto is burn the boats. We're going to go down fighting, and that helps you start somewhat of a culture. And you've only been there 2 seasons now, a season and not quite even a season and a half. But you said on the other side, Jay Wright has done a terrific job, and his staff, of extending what their culture started, you know, some 5-6 years ago up to this point, because now you have those players that connect you. Jalen Brunson learned from Archie Diacono, Josh Hart, you know, Dante DiVincenzo playing behind and against Josh Hart and Chris Jenkins. So Jay has that.
And we have a whistle after Daniel Reed just knocked down the 2 free throws to make it a 21-point game, and a kickball right there.
And these games are hard when it gets to this point with just over 4 minutes to play in the first half for a team like Villanova. Can't get bored. You got to figure out how to continue to get better and to stay sharp.
Good defensive pressure here, but Villanova able to get it across. They've had an answer for everything so far, and it goes out of bounds off the Wildcats. If you're Nicholls, you like to shoot the 3, but is it just as important to try to go inside or drive and draw the foul, try to get to the line a little, try to get something going here before the final 4 minutes of the first half?
Absolutely. Drive and kick it, but the pace right now is not where Nicholls wants to be, and it allows now Villanova to get into a 2-3 zone because the pace is so slow.
And the 3 is good from Zaquavian Smith, so back-to-back threes for Smith, and it's 43-25. And again, the pressure in the backcourt. And again, just enough of the pass to get it across, and Cosby Roundtree puts it in.
Yeah, these are great games for a guy like Cosby Roundtree because he can get his feet wet. Guys are looking for him.
Again from 3, this time it's Javon Powell. So this is a little what Nicholls is more accustomed to, taking and hitting those threes. It was a very slow start. They missed their first 5 from 3-point range. Bridges thought about the 3. No reason to force it, though. Cosby Roundtree call for the travel.
You can see he's just not comfortable, the freshman, but he'll get there. He's got great ability. His teammates will continue to believe in him. Jay's giving him minutes.
A freshman mistake, but not much has gone wrong for the Wildcats tonight as they lead Nicholls 45-28.
T-Mobile family plans now come with
3:08 left in this first half. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Snowball Express and their commitment to providing hope and new happy memories to the children of our fallen heroes while on active duty since 9/11. By bringing children together from all over the world, Snowball Express provides an annual life-changing event to make each child feel special as we remember the lives of their parents. We remember. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn how. Right here, Villanova up 45-28, Donnie, and a well-earned number 5 spot in the latest top 10 poll. Top 25, I should say.
And will probably move up. Think about that game coming up, Duke, Michigan State. I don't know how high you want to be this early. A lot of expectations nationally for these teams, but
it all matters most in the first Monday night in April.
Yeah.
As the Wildcats are well aware.
These guys have been there, though. You know, obviously Jay and his staff, but you know, a lot of guys on this Nova team have been there before. They've been talked about with the most respect, and they've been ranked and all that good stuff. So I think they can handle it.
5 Sweet 16 appearances, 7 Elite 8, 2 Final 4, and a national championship. And a partridge in a pear tree. Rutledge kicks it out for Powell. Down to 5 on the 30. And Peters has to go. Down to 2. He just does get it off, or no?
Spacing was very poor right there from the start for Nicholls. You got one guy in an area in a white uniform that can guard 2 on the wing. It just can't happen.
You surprised a little miscommunication maybe out of a timeout
yeah,
like that?
it just can't happen. It's just a little lack of focus.
Down to 2.5 left first half, and the turnover by Villanova, the steal by Peters. And Peters takes it 1 on 3 and wisely kicks it out. Rutledge from 3, in and out, and Bridges right there. That's
the guy.
Thing. So far, Rutledge has been firing away, but there have been 4 white shirts quickly descending on the boards. Villanova may not have the biggest front line, but they all go to the glass aggressively. Inside 2 minutes left in this first half. It has been all Villanova. And that time, Bridges is bumped. by Daniel Regis.
Yeah, and if you're Regis, you've done your job. You've pushed Bridges off the block, away out to the wing. Now you have to retreat and get back.
So Mikal Bridges, an outstanding free throw shooter, hit his previous two. 91%, maybe one of those reasons why he's such an outstanding free throw shooter. His mom made him do push-ups if he missed in high school.
That's a good deal.
Got out of doing push-ups.
I mean,
although the downside is you build up your upper body and core a little.
If I wasn't making my bed or cleaning my dish, my mom was making me do push-ups. I'd rather be out shooting hoops and, you know, instead of having to do chores.
It's paid off. He's 4 of 4 from the free throw line and another turnover.
It's paid off for me too. I make a mean bed.
I never could.
Yeah.
My mother's still on me.
Clean
to this
dishes
day about
too.
it.
Yeah, I clean dishes. Yeah.
There's a dishwasher for that.
I'll cook and clean dishes.
That's impressive.
How about that?
I think I'm gonna have to
I'm
take
a catch.
I'm gonna have to take a trip to the Marshall House.
Keep telling my wife I'm a catch. I'm not convinced yet.
47-28, a minute 43 left in this first half. It has been all Wildcats as DiVincenzo gets fouled by Peters going to the basket.
And that's what you see with teams that are perimeter oriented offensively, is the inability to stay in front of guys on the defensive end. And this Nicholls team in this first half has basically shown me what you've said. They're all new, not quite comfortable with each other. You can see it in their lack of communication on defense.
Coming up on the Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report, we'll check in with Mike Hill and Steve Lavin from Marquette. Good one tonight. Live in Milwaukee. That's a nice place to be. As DiVincenzo knocks it down to extend the lead back to 21. Peters, aggressive move, and he gets the floater to fall. 49-30. Roddy Peters now 4 of 10 from the field on the night. Bridges all alone from 3, and again, look at all the white jerseys. However, coming up with it was Aquavian Smith. Here's Powell from long range, and quick shot off the mark. Gillespie runs it down. A minute left in this first half. 5th-ranked Villanova looking to open the season 2-0 after an opening win over Columbia, in control. Pascal gives it up, and they find the wide open Bridges, and it's been too easy.
That ball, there's almost 100% chance of that ball going in, no matter who, even if you were in that corner. Richie, just because of the perfect ball movement. The basketball god said, you know what? You've done it the right way. You shared the ball. This has to. We're making this go in.
3rd three-pointer of this first half for Bridges, and he leads all scorers with 15. He's done it at both ends, though. And with the shot clock off, Villanova will call timeout before setting up its final possession.
Great coaching moment here for Jay Wright. 20 seconds on the clock, and you do this a lot in practice, but it's nice to do it with fans and referees and an opponent that you don't know much about.
Well, after the uneven first half that Villanova had last week, Jay Wright's got to feel a lot more comfortable about what he's seen so far. The defense has been there, the ball movement's been there. Everybody seems a lot more comfortable this time around.
There's been a different element in this game also. Nicholls is pressing full court. You know, Villanova's not going to see that a lot this season. It just doesn't happen at their level. But if they do, come tournament time, and I know we're looking way ahead, at least I am, now you can revert back and say, hey, we were pressed early in the season. This is nice that we have seen this already, but they're handling it very well. A couple of little lulls here and there, but it's early in the season. Jay Wright has to be happy with not just the way they're scoring, but the way they're playing together and being unselfish.
And the defense, the rebounding, it's all coming together so far in this first half. It's been a fantastic, it's almost been a clinic by the Wildcats. In fact, it has been. 20 seconds left, and Brunson to inbound. Pascal. And cutting Gillespie, and an offensive take that back, goaltending on the play. So Gillespie, beautiful move to cut to the basket and give Pascal an outlet.
Pascal could have very easily said, get out of the way, but that's just a great cut by the freshman, Gillespie. And that's what Jay Wright said before the game. He has a great basketball mind. He has a great feel for the game.
Peters one more time hanging. DiVincenzo comes down with it. And the heave, even that looked like it was going. But that's one of the few things that didn't fall for the Wildcats in this first half. They have never trailed in the first 3 halves of basketball so far this season. They didn't trail Friday, and they didn't trail at all in this first half. And right now have a 24-point lead at the break, leading Nicholls 54-30. Getting ready to start the second half, and everything in Philadelphia is pretty quick as the two teams combine for 94 possessions in the first half at an average of 12 seconds per possession. Welcome back inside the Wells Fargo Center. Rich Ackerman, Donnie Marshall, and Donnie, what a wild first half with Villanova leading throughout, but up by 24 as we begin the second half.
Hitting on all cylinders, as they say, the Wildcats, but Nicholls has a chance in this game if they can start making some shots to really have an opportunity to get back defensively. When you don't make a shot, Villanova's coming right back down your throat. They've done a great job in transition as well.
The first half stats brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee, and decidedly all Villanova, as you might expect, with a 24-point lead. But look at how good they have played so far. 8 blocks, 19 of 32 from the field, and a 24-point lead as we start the second half.
Starting off in the 2-3, and they only made 4 threes in the first half, Villanova, so it's not that they're killing Nicholls from behind the arc. It's everything else.
Here's Sadler off the glass, and much the way it went in the first half, that's the way it begins in the second half for Nicholls.
You can't ask for much better than that, though. Point blank.
And the steal by Smith. Here's Powell, and the block by Booth. 9th block of the game for the Wildcats. And we have a foul on the play, and it's going to go on Pascal.
And this is what you want in transition. Get out. Booth, I mean, like we talked about earlier, it's a block party, and I know that the little guys always remind you of their block shots, just like the big guys always remind you of their made threes or their crossover dribbles.
This has been one thing that has really hurt Nicholls, though, free throw shooting. They were 1 of 3. Check that. 3 of 7 in the first half, but 1 of 2 right there.
Well, they're not going to get to the foul line a lot anyway because they shoot so many jump shots, but when you do get there, you got to be as efficient as possible, you would hope.
So Bridges, who had a brilliant first half, leading all scorers with 17, and he finds a wide open Brunson, and another 3 for the Wildcats as they extend that lead to 26, and right back at the other end is Smith.
And Nicholls had to go in at halftime and say, hey, let's talk, let's communicate with each other.
Brunson now in double figures with 10 as DiVincenzo checks back in. And Eric Pascal will go to the bench. That's one thing, too. Jay Wright has been able to substitute, get guys in, guys out very quickly, give them a breather. Nobody's laboring on this team. Bridges, quick shot, and good from 3. 20 now for Mikal Bridges. Right back is Aquavian Smith. Another 3 for Smith. He's been the one guy who's been able to hit from downtown.
Well, Villanova needs to find Quay. He's heating up in that corner.
He's been one of the few. 4 for 4 from three-point range. And Booth looking for an outlet, and a steal by Peters, but it's a 10-second violation.
And that's exactly what Nicholls needs. But when you look around at the players, only one player was clapping, excited about getting that stop. Every guy needs to high five, come over, say great job to the 2 guys that trapped that ball. And the lack of emotion, I think, hurts any team, especially when you're on the road playing against a team as good as Villanova. And let us remind you, the crowd, they're bored right now. The game has gotten away a little bit. They're not affecting it at all.
Cosby got a piece of that one. Here's Gillespie at the other end. He lays it up and in.
He's just so fundamentally sound, finishing with the left hand there, waiting till the last second. Defense didn't react and finishes.
Sadler, the quick release and the pull-up. 62-39, despite the deficit, the pace of play remaining pretty much the same as it was in the first half. And Bridges lost it. Sadler the steal. And how about this three from Powell, short. The save by Sadler, but it goes right into the hands of Bridges. And here comes Brunson. Finding an open Bridges. Off the mark. A rare miss for Bridges tonight, who has 20 of the 62 so far for Villanova. And deflected away by Brunson.
Just not a good pass. You're trying to throw a skip pass, you got a teammate wide open, but Colin Gillespie, good job reading. Defense doesn't react. You got to go in and finish.
The guy this time last year did not have any Division I offers. You look at this and you say, how is that possible? Developed over the season. Now here he is at Villanova.
Well, that happens a lot right in your backyard. You get a player who no one's talking about, and you have a chance to drive to see some of his games. You don't have to fly, and Villanova jumped on it.
Bridges with the deflection that caused that turnover. Here's Gillespie, and Gillespie 5 straight points, and it's 65-39.
Man, that's pretty. The release is awesome.
Smith right back. He is not shy. Zaquavian Smith now 5 for 5 from three-point range in this game.
I told you, you don't want Quakeway to heat up.
Didn't take much for him to get going. And Brunson hit from behind by Powell. It's Kamani Jackson coming in for Nicholls. Pascal, check that, Spellman, and Phil Booth back in for Villanova.
That was one of the things, talking to Richie Riley before the game. He said defensively, we scored 111 points, but we gave up 106 in our first game. We have to start dialing in a little bit, communicating, helping each other out defensively.
The way this one's going there.
Yeah.
Up more tonight.
Yeah.
Pascal hounded, kicks it out. Here's Booth for 3 and knocks it down.
Yeah, they're just over-helping. It's small on small in the post, and then the next guy that has to recover is a big guy who's not used to running out at a guard.
Burst of speed by Powell, and Jackson had trouble handling that, but it'll stay Nicholls' ball. As DiVincenzo now coming in for Brunson. So the turnstile continues. Here's Roddy Peters, who started at Maryland, then transferred to South Florida before suffering a foot injury. Throws it away. Here's Booth at the other end, and Booth looking impressive so far. As you mentioned, coming back from the knee injury that kept him out of all but 3 games last year, and those are the first 3. Here's Smith again, this time off the mark, and DiVincenzo taking away from Spellman. Pascal backing in on Smith. Gillespie content to slow it down for the moment. He's pounded by Powell. Pascal, and he's blocked by Jackson. And here comes Nicholls the other way. Peters trying to find the seam and gets it high off the glass over Pascal. 70-44. Nearly 5 minutes gone by in the second half.
And not only are they exerting extra energy and stopping on the perimeter, but Nicholls is chasing guys off the line every time down, and that starts to catch up with you. Conditioning early in the season, remember.
Well, just their second game, and coming off a win, 111-106 over UTRGV. But tonight, a much different story. Villanova dominating right now, 70-44. The Wildcats on top. This one is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. The Gavitt games continue next as the 19th ranked Purdue Boilermakers take on Marquette. Then tomorrow, Butler squares off with Maryland. It's all this week on FS1 or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Some great action this week on FS1, and we have a great team putting on a show right now in Villanova. Up by 26. They have never trailed. It was a 24-point game at the half, and it's pretty much held steady, Donnie, through these first 5 minutes of the second half.
These games are difficult for some. I love being in these games because it was a great chance to pad your stats early. Go get buckets, make some free throws, but not only that, not that Villanova needs anymore, but it brings them together, the camaraderie when you see, hey, we're up big, but we're still sharing the ball. We're still playing together.
Nicholls trying to get it across. Here's Powell. Finally does. Peters and Villanova in the zone once again. With a 26-point lead, you could afford to experiment with situations, whether it's offensively or defensively. Powell short on the three, and there's Pascal Sky for the ball. Lead pass for Gillespie. Kicks it back out to Pascal, started things off. Spellman for three. A little strong on that. And here comes Powell going 1-on-3. And he's called for the offensive foul.
Wow. And you can see just in a short time what Jay Wright was telling us before the game is that Colin Gillespie he just has a great feel. I know a lot of people say basketball IQ. I'm not a big fan of the term. I just don't know where the IQ test is.
I actually stole it. Tried to boost my grade.
I just think he knows, he has a great feel. He knows where to be at both ends of the floor.
Led Archbishop Wood to the Catholic League Championship in Philadelphia, where he played against his teammate Demir Cosby Roundtree. And came away the winner. Pascal off the rebound, and he was fouled. And it's going to go on Lafayette Rutledge.
I mean, you think about that with Gillespie. You said it. Starting at the beginning of last season, had no D1 offers. Finishes the year as the 5A AP Player of the Year in Pennsylvania. And now he's playing for Villanova. The story, it doesn't get much better than that.
Here's the steal by Powell. Peters aggressive again, and there's Spellman. The trailer comes up with a block. Another block by Spellman. Boy, what a night defensively for Villanova. 12 block shots now.
And that's good work. You know, you lose the ball, and then you fight your way back down the floor. That was most impressive to me.
There's number 4 for Spellman.
Take a look. Spellman loses the ball, and then he chases it down and gets a block shot. Probably could have had 2. Might have come down on the ball instead of reaching it at its peak to block the second one.
So Kamani Jackson at the line. And Spellman and Gillespie will take a seat. And Cosby Rutledge comes back in, as does Bridges. Kamani Jackson, one of those transfers from Colorado State. 6'7", 225 senior from Flint, Michigan. A lot of great players have come out of there. Here's Brunson quickly at the other end, and he's bumped by Jackson, and it goes.
I love the kid because there's nothing flashy. He's not playing around with the ball. Straight line player. That means there's no dribbling behind the back, between the legs, no herky-jerky.
Little teaching moment there for Jay Wright with the freshman Omari Spellman.
And that was about a 3.5-minute teaching moment there. As soon as he came out, he's been talking to him the entire time.
And Brunson has learned his lessons well from his father, Eric. Former Temple point guard. Rick Brunson played with the Knicks, among others, in the NBA. The other thing, too, is, Villanova will run this set and take some time off the clock, but they'll sneak one in every so often as Bridges goes to the basket and is fouled by Sadler.
Probably see a lot more of that in the post with Mikal Bridges this season. And these are games, too, set up when you get up this big to start playing one-on-one basketball, telling guys to get out of the way. It's just really not a part of Villanova's fabric.
Well, what a night it has been for Mikal Bridges in every facet of the game. He's 5 for 5 from the free throw line and the 91% shooter. You know, his mom's some push-ups there.
You keep talking about it, he's bound to miss, man. You're jinxing him.
His first miss of the night. I think the way this one has gone, I think he'll gladly do a couple push-ups. DiVincenzo got a hand on that, and the lead from Brunson. And the easy lay-in at the other end. And Richie Riley calls for timeout with his team now down 31 with a little more than 7 minutes gone by in this second half. The Wildcats just keep pouring it on, and Dante DiVincenzo getting involved. Villanova 76, Nicholls 45. And leading the way has been Mikal Bridges with 21 so far tonight. He's done it in every phase of the game.
I think you come into a program and you hear you're going to be a defensive stopper. That's great, but I think a lot of players who can score take it a little personally and say, I'm more than that. I can be more than just a guy with long arms who gets steals, and Mikal Bridges is starting to turn into that piece. And you can tell that he's worked on his game very diligently all summer long.
You know, we talked about development earlier, and you went back to your days at UConn, and Mikal Bridges, a guy who redshirted as a freshman, was a substitute off the bench after that, and has slowly built up his game, and now the total package is coming out.
Not only is he a terrific player, he's a great kid. You know, it's hard to find that combination. You know, we're talking about major conferences and great players to find. You can find a lot of good players, maybe not doing what they're supposed to do off the court all the time, but Mikal Bridges, you can trust that. I mean, he's just a special kid all around.
He was co-defensive player of the year in the Big East a year ago, and maybe didn't look for a shot that much as Roberton slams it down.
Give the big fella some touches. Nicholls has turned him into a second shot player in this game and said, hey, just block some shots. Big guys need love too.
You know, getting back to Bridges, he attempted fewer than 5 shots in a game last year, 12 times, but with the graduations of Josh Hart and Chris Jenkins, that's one area that you have to figure is going to increase this year for him. Booth high off the glass. Bill Booth having another strong night. He now has 9. Roberton again, and that one came right out of his hands. Here's Brunson pushing the pace. Booth from 3. 5 straight points for Phil Booth, and it's 81-47.
Yeah, I think Phil Booth is going to have a lot of big games scoring-wise this season. Can score mid-range. You saw him get to the rim. Saw him knock down a 3.
Because of the injury last year, a lot of people forget he had 20 points in that national championship victory over North Carolina.
Hey, Rich, this is what I'm talking about. Finishes high off the glass over the 7-footer. Lay. Next one. Jay under control. Balanced. Knocking it down.
Phil Booth with 12. And Villanova up big on Nicholls. 81-47.
It's okay that everybody ignores me when I drive.
The Villanova band just completing its rendition of God Bless America here at Wells Fargo Center. Something that has been very big in this city, especially with the Flyers years ago with Kate Smith and Lauren Hart. As we take a closer look at the Nicholls Colonels of Thibodaux, Louisiana, 60 miles southwest of New Orleans. Part of the Southland Conference, picked to finish 10th in the conference, but that could be misleading because the conference champion New Orleans Privateers were picked to finish 10th by the SIDs a year ago, 9th by the coaches, and they wound up winning the conference and of course going to the NCAA tournament as Richie Riley in his second season, hoping for better days than what he has seen tonight from his team. Just one of those nights, and I guess you would chalk it up as a teaching lesson.
Oh, you can tell your guys they're probably not going to meet a team anywhere near as good as this one that we've seen tonight, but you can't let them completely off the hook. You know, there are some missteps, turning the ball over, not making the extra pass, defensively, lack of communication. So definitely a game you can learn from.
Tavon Sadler 0 for 3 at the free throw line.
And I tell you, these are games that you play and you get punched in the mouth. You really find out what kind of players you have on your team. Will they accept it, or will they remember this, regardless of who they're playing, the number 5 team in the country or not, and how will they respond?
Well, again, it's just game 2, and we talked about trying to mesh a lot of new faces into this lineup. How quickly can it come together for this team? It is a long season, and we're only into game 2. We're not near not only 2018, but certainly not March. DiVincenzo. And here's Brunson working on Roddy Peters. Brunson finding the open Pascal. And the lane just opened up like the Red Sea.
They're going to have a chart on how many dunks he has this season.
He has 10 points tonight and some thunderous dunks. And here's the breakout by DiVincenzo. How about that one? And he is fouled. And that has certainly gotten the crowd at Wells Fargo Center on their feet.
Tell you what, I don't think there was any guessing what was happening here. Wow. And what I love about it even more is Dante's reaction. He got up off the floor, his teammates came over, they helped him up, walked straight to the foul line. There was no taunting, no staring a guy down.
Like he's been there before.
I mean, I know we talk about it a lot, but
looks like he took one to the nose as well. Struggling there a little, but
Jay and his staff, they have just done a tremendous job of recruiting the right kid. And give the credit to these kids' parents and their families and how they were raised to get to this point, because it just doesn't happen overnight.
The Michael Jordan of Delaware, his high school coach once called him. And he has made that moniker look good on that last possession.
I like Dante, but his coach must not have gotten out of Delaware much. That's a stretch. I know what he's saying. Dante, Tay, I'm going to give you a lot of credit here, man. I love the athleticism and all that, but Michael Jordan
of Delaware.
It's tough. It's tough. And some good players out of Delaware.
Listen to lips there. Michael Jordan of Delaware.
Yeah.
Tavon Sadler knocks down the free throw, make it 86-51. Dante's high school in Wilmington, Delaware. Some alumni here, perhaps.
I take it a little bit more personally just because I played against Michael Jordan.
That one's certainly reminiscent of perhaps the greatest of all time. Eric Pascal with a strong one just a second ago, and the block at the other end. The 12th of the night for the Wildcats. And it goes off Booth's foot. It'll go the other way. So it was a 24-point lead at the half for Villanova, and the Wildcats have extended it nearly midway through to 37. They have led throughout.
And Jay Wright still coaching, no matter what the score is.
Zaquavian Smith fouled by DiVincenzo on the 3, so he'll go to the line for 3.
Yeah, Quay is quieted down. And I don't know if that's because Villanova has run him off the line or his teammates. It may be equal parts. Forgetting about your guy who was hot to start the half, and the defense dialing it in on him a little bit better.
He had hit his first 5 3-point attempts of the night. He is 0 for his last 3, and he hits the first free throw. As Amir Cosby Roundtree getting ready to get back in. And he'll give Eric Pascal a rest.
Man, this kid was a second-team All-American. National Junior College Association, so he can play, he can score. Made 92 threes in a season.
88-54. And again, no let up in the backcourt, the defensive pressure by Nicholls. DiVincenzo, open 3. And Dante DiVincenzo heating up in the second half. He now has 14. Sadler banks in the 3. He likes using the backboard. Figures it's there, might as well take advantage of it.
The key is not to laugh about it afterwards. Act like you meant to do that.
Yeah, sure. Brunson passes out of the trap. And Gillespie gets it across. Jermaine Samuels, the freshman, into the game for the first time tonight. The spin by Brunson.
Brunson, don't show him everything, young fella. Knock down some shots, mid-range.
And that one is going to go on Samuels. As Daniel Regis will go back to the line.
That was a good pass, threading the needle. Wow.
Close.
Maybe that offhand, but it looked like he had a lot of ball.
First one by Regis off the mark, but Jay Wright had a lot of positive things to say about Samuels, and you just look at his athleticism, you see his body and those long arms. Talk about development. Boy, what a bright future ahead for this freshman class. Regis knocks down the second to make it 93-58. Nearly 11 minutes gone by in the second half in a game that Villanova has led throughout. Quickly across to DiVincenzo. Samuels for 3.
And I'm excited about Jermaine Samuels. I really like his athleticism. He can do a lot. Got a great body. Just has to be able to figure out in this program, in this system, how can I think and play at the same time? Because there's a lot of thinking that goes into what they do at both ends of the floor at Villanova.
6'6" freshman out of Franklin, Massachusetts, and his uncle, former track star here at Villanova.
I think that's part of it too. He's a New England kid. I love all my New England ball players. So
you've adopted the Northeast,
yeah,
haven't you?
Been there long enough. Suffered a lot of cold winters.
Here's Samuels, and turned away. And here comes Nicholls. Smith once again from 3. And now 6 of 9 from 3-point range.
And just cold in the first half. That's what got him into that hole. Turnovers and just couldn't find that touch in the first half.
23 points for Zaquavian Smith. Brunson working on Kevin Johnson, and Brunson lost it, goes off his leg. And again, the quick substitutions by Jay Wright.
Well,
Phil Booth, Mikal Bridges, and Amir Cosby Roundtree back in.
And just stopped short. Big fella came in, but I like the attack. Really, that was self-inflicted block right there. Stuck on the rim.
Regis, and the block from behind by Samuels. And it looks like Samuels going to be called for the foul. He's getting his money's worth in his limited action. Inside 8 minutes left in the second half. The freshman starting to get involved. And everybody having a big night for Villanova.
When you have moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, the
have done it at both ends, especially inside, tying a school record with 12 block shots on the night.
Well, Rich, you know what a block party is? It's a crowded party in which many members of a single community congregate. In this case, it's the Wildcat community blocking everything to the tune of 12. 6 different players for Villanova have at least one block. Omari Spellman and Mikal Bridges, 4 apiece. I mean, Jay Wright may have some things he can nitpick, but it can't be about the defensive end. It really can't. Nova has done a great job collapsing to the ball. They've helped each other out, and they've been resilient trying to chase down loose balls and trying to get block shots.
6 different players with a block, and they have just added one officially, so it is now 13.
Yeah. A
new school record for the Wildcats in this game tonight. The previous record, 12, had been done 4 times. Tied tonight and now broken by the Wildcats with 13 blocks. Here's Quay Smith off the mark that time. Now 7 of 11 from three-point range. Bridges, and he's called for the offensive foul. Toughest call to make, right?
It really is. But the reason I think it's tough is you could argue either way. You know, there really was no evidence there that it wasn't. You could make the argument that it could go either way.
Here's the steal by Booth, and ahead to Bridges. 23 for Mikal Bridges tonight. Smith now the step back 3, short, and Bridges with the rebound. Boy, he has had some magnificent night. There's Samuels finding a way inside the lane, but he was bumped.
I've noticed in 2 games watching Jermaine Samuels is that he's not shy. He's going to get him up, and here's just a nice run out. 2-handed jam.
Roddy Peters gets called for the foul, so foul on 23 on 23. So Samuels looking for his first points as a college basketball player, and he's off the mark there.
And the key for a guy like Samuels, only because I've experienced it, is just to keep your confidence. You know you can play at this level. You understand your abilities. You just have to, even when you miss a couple free throws, you miss a dunk, you have to stay confident. Always believe in yourself.
0 for 2 from the free throw line with Samuels, in and out. And the deflection goes to Sadler. Off the glass, off the mark.
And the reason I say believe in yourself is because you're here. You got here. It wasn't because of luck. It was because of your talent, because of your skill.
Well, when you first get in, you're told, hey, take it easy, but easier said than done. How do you control that emotion? Gillespie, the nice pass for Cosby Roundtree, and he's rejected, but kept alive. And another opportunity for Booth. And tapped out and out of bounds. It'll be Nicholls basketball. You know, you're exuberant. You want to make an impact early when you're a freshman. You get on the floor. You're not guaranteed a lot of time. How do you fight that urge and temptation?
You talk to your teammates. You ask guys who have asked questions, guys who have been there before and who have done it. I'm laughing as we hear the horn honk a few times. Jay Wright in and out, in and out. Jay Wright with this deeper bench, he's like a kid who just gets his license. Speeding through everything, trying to beat the yellow light before it turns red.
Peters got it to go down.
He's turning the car sharply. He's flying all over the place. Jay's loving this, having these rotations a little bit deeper. He's subbing guys in and out, in and out. I love it.
Well, he admitted after last year that maybe they ran out of gas at the end, but also, you know, he has a deeper team, but also that bench is inexperienced. So here's a great opportunity to get them some experience early.
It gets him experience that he's probably forgotten about as well, that he has to get back to teaching. You know,
Jalen Brunson showing why he is Big East Player of the Year.
Think about it. Jay Wright has, the last 4 years, has told his older guys, bring the younger guys along. You know, help them figure it out. Now, he's got some older guys, but the 3 freshmen, he's going to need to put his hands on a little bit more, and his staff to bring them along a little bit quicker. He's going to need them.
Peters with the aggressive move to the basket, but Villanova still up big as Richie Riley calls for time. 97-65. Welcome back to Wells Fargo Center. Rich Ackerman, Donnie Marshall with Villanova on top of Nicholls, 97-65. And, you know, this program coming off its best 4-year stretch in school history, 129-17, and losing a lot of experience in Josh Hart, Chris Jenkins, and Darrell Reynolds. And we've talked about Jay Wright trying to get some of his younger players experience tonight. And again, an outstanding opportunity. Here's Pascal, and he's blocked by Roberton and fouled as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, you know, talking to Jay Wright, Big East Media Day. The thing that he said with Reynolds, Jenkins, and Hart is that all three of them gave complete commitment to every aspect of the Villanova program. He said as young guys, they were committed to being learners, and as older guys, they were committed to being leaders. He said every year of their careers, they filled their roles perfectly. You know, whatever he asked, whatever he needed, they gave it to him, and that's why their teams always won. I think that is, it's such a great point, because now you tell your younger guys who are coming along, they learned when they were young, and they were pretty darn good players when they left here. You can do the same.
Like Tim Duncan with the Spurs,
yeah.
One of the best players.
Come on.
Set the standard. It makes it tough to slack off as Sadler gets the floater to go, 98-67. But as you mentioned, the great players in the history of this program, off the turnover, there's Smith, and he's fouled by Bridges. But you go through the names, whether it's Kyle Lowry, Randy Foy, Mike Nardi, Ryan Arcidiacono, Chris Jenkins, Josh Hart, all these names,
yeah.
You know,
Eddie Pinckney, you go back as far as you want.
Kerry Kittles.
Alvin Williams. I mean, you got guys, Jason Lawson. I mean, the list goes on and on. You know, and I think we forget about what's built this program up before Jay Wright, the players who have helped, the tradition, and obviously the coaches and so on and so forth. But there have been some not good, but great players who have gone on to do great things after they've left Villanova. And I think that should be the focus, to put pressure on the players nowadays to say, hey, you got some shoes to fill.
Absolutely. Spellman trying to fill them, finding the open man. Now they kick it back out. Gillespie, and he's blocked by Peters from behind, but it will stay Villanova basketball with just a tick over 5 minutes left. Villanova has been in the lead throughout, just as they led wire to wire in their season opener Friday over Columbia. Here's Spellman from deep. Cosby Roundtree, though, right there to pick it back up. Roberton the block. Here comes Peters. Peters going to the crossover. And again, they've been able to get to the basket. Here's the steal, though, this time, and put back up and in by Kevin Johnson.
Chance for the three freshmen to show Jay exactly what they have. Well, four if you want to count Omari Spellman in there.
Sat out last year as an academic redshirt.
Chance for them to play together. Hopefully finish the game off if they do what they're supposed to do.
Gillespie. But Spellman. One freshman can't get it done, the other right there to clean it up.
You know, I just can't tell you how much, even though he didn't play last year, he was around the team. He worked out with them. He went through all the routines, practice-wise, travel, things like that. So you benefit from that. And you can see it in his mindset, his body language.
Got a chance to get acclimated to campus, had an over 3.0 GPA.
It's a huge, huge difference in these guys just coming off of a high school campus versus his situation.
You mentioned the 37-pound weight loss and how much he attributed to the strength coach, John Shackleton, and what a difference it has made so far. The freshman making an impact tonight with Villanova hitting the century mark.
Saturday on Fox.
Villanova has led throughout. The Wildcats now up by 29 in time now for the Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Moment of the game. What do you think it is, Donnie?
There's been so many. There have been so many, but
this was the pick.
It has to be the facial. What'd you call him? The Michael Jordan of, you said it, not
Delaware.
Dante DiVincenzo finishing strong. So that's when you got to remember what the scouting report is. You got to pay attention to it. This guy will dunk on you if you try to challenge him.
So the Wildcats at 100. They scored 108 against St. John's. in the Big East tournament last March, but this is the 15th time a Jay Wright Villanova team has hit the century mark. 171, still 3:52 left in regulation. And I think he could afford to smile a little right now.
I don't know. He's got 4 freshmen on the floor.
Somehow still doesn't break a sweat. Got the nice suit as always. GQJ. DiVincenzo with a good look from 3 and knocks it down.
That's one way to make everyone happy if you're a freshman. Pass it to the guy who's hot, the upperclassman.
Zaquavian Smith short, and the rebound for Spellman. What a night he has had in his second game. 9 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Samuels looking for his first college points and finally gets it. Jermaine Samuels' first collegiate points come on a 3-point shot.
I really like the kid. I mean it. I just think he has all the pieces to fit right in perfectly with this program.
Powell, nice fake to free himself up, but again can't get it to fall. There's DiVincenzo finding the open man, Gillespie, and he hits that 3. And Richie Riley calls for timeout.
Yeah, his team is just floating right now. They're playing just in the middle of the floor, almost 3-point line to 3-point line. No one's really getting back down deep, and Villanova's wearing them down. 109 points for Villanova. Impressive here in Philly.
Being a location scout.
Villanova on top, extending the lead on back-to-back 3s from the freshman. First Jermaine Samuels, and then a moment ago, Colin Gillespie. The 109 points right now, a Wells Fargo Center record for Villanova. 105 was the previous, and as we mentioned up top, their on-campus home, the Pavilion, being renovated, a $60 million renovation. It will open up next year. So the Wildcats playing 12 of their home games here this year.
Well, these are the arenas that, when I was in the Big East, this is what we played in. I mean, there were only 1 or 2 that we played on campus, but for the most part, we played in all NBA arenas.
Madison Square Garden as the deep 3 by Maurice O'Field makes it 109-74.
I mean, you name it. We only played a couple of games on campus at the Pavilion when we played against Villanova. This is fun for the kids. You know, you get a taste of what the NBA locker rooms are like and the NBA atmosphere is, how the buildings they shoot in. That was what was most intriguing to me to play in the Big East, is that I got to play in, I'd be able to play in NBA arenas.
What was your favorite? Cosby, Roundtree, the emphatic slam, 111-74.
I don't think there's any question. MSG, I mean, the Mecca. It doesn't get much better than that. Although, even though it wasn't an NBA arena, the Carrier Dome was pretty impressive when you see a sea of 33,000 orange T-shirts and you win. No better feeling than that.
111-76. As Jay Wright clears the bench, and it'll go the other way. Tom Delaney in the game, Tom Labig in the game, and Dante DiVincenzo goes to the bench, and here's it from the crowd.
Jay's still coaching him, standing him up, say, stay right here, I got a couple things to tell you. Great.
A minute and a half left. It has been all Villanova, and the Wildcats have led throughout on their way to their second straight win to open the season. 75-60 victory on Friday over Columbia, and this one they are leading big as Cosby Roundtree with a jump hook. Inside a minute left. As Villanova milks the clock, Cosby Roundtree one more time.
Villanova going to play again in about 3 days, so quick little turnaround. Good Jay got to spread out the minutes.
Up next will be Lafayette as Peters off the mark. And down to 40 seconds, and we get a whistle. And now everybody coming in. Massive substitutions.
Yeah, that's good to see. Again, you have guys who are at the end of the bench who this will be the only opportunity for them to play in an NBA arena.
Danny Grace, Matt Kennedy, numbers 40 and 35 respectively for Villanova. As the Wildcats bring it across. The three-pointer off the mark and run down, loose ball, fought for, and now we have a whistle with 21.8 left. Gotta love it when you get your time. Gotta show the hustle.
And fouls are ugly most of the time. If you can see them, they're not phantom fouls, but boy, they are so much uglier when you get to the guys at the end of the bench. They look like they're hurt more.
The New Zealander, Zach Young, at the line, and he hits the first. Young, a 6'1" senior. Rafe Blades also into the game, wearing number 33 for Nicholls. 1 of 2 for Young. And a 113-77 lead for Villanova. The crowd yelling, shoot it. They want more. Give the walk-ons a chance here.
If you want to put that uniform back on another day, you hold that ball.
The final seconds tick away, and Villanova cruises to a 113-77 win over Nicholls to improve to 2-0. Terrific night throughout for the Wildcats. Michael Bridges with 23 to lead the way. Dante DiVincenzo with 20. But what a great night all around. 6 players in double figures, and the Wildcats have yet to trail in their first 2 games this season.
Now, the one thing that comes to mind is the balance. You know, we're going to be talking more about depth, even though it's only 1 or 2 more guys Jay can go to. He'll take that, but the balance of the scoring, the balance of the block shots, the defense, spreading the ball around, very impressive by Villanova. Regardless of who they play tonight, I think they're showing right now really what this team can be and how they're going to be moving forward.
Mikal Bridges leading the way with 23 for the Wildcats, and he had a terrific night.
Just special. You know, the fact that he can knock down some threes consistently. He's always been a very, very good shooter, but he's turning into a prolific one. I know it's early, so people are going to say, let's wait and see, but I think this is what this kid can be, if not even better. Transition-wise, he gets out, he plays both ends of the floor, and he's a great teammate. You know, you see him talking to guys, he's patting guys on the butt if they're not playing well, he's encouraging them, and again, he's another one of those holdovers that Jay, when you talk about the culture that they've created the last 4 or 5 years, he's another one of those guys that Jay is going to lean on to be able to kind of extend that to the younger players that are going to be a huge part of what he does this season.
No seniors, but Bridges is a 4th-year player in this program, and also tonight a school record for blocks with 13.
Yeah, defensively, the team right now seems to be turning into something that no one really expected outside of their team, and that is defensive stalwarts. Now, we know Villanova has been to spread it out, shoot threes, at times over the last 4 or 5 seasons, live by the 3, die by the 3. They don't seem to be that team, even though that they have the ability to beat you from outside. Defensively, they're showing that they understand that it's not just about scoring, it's about getting stops. Now, they hold a team that scored 111 points their last game to 77 in a blowout game. That's a hard thing to do. Stay focused on defense when you know you're getting up and down, and you mentioned it in the first half. The pace was 12 seconds per possession. That's a fast game, and Villanova never abandoned their defense. just tremendous numbers there on Villanova's side.
And the ball movement was terrific throughout the night. 58%, so many easy shots. We saw the dunks, but there were also so many easy, uncontested shots because of the ball movement.
Yeah, another great number that we don't have up there, 28 assists. I mean, that is so impressive. 28 assists for the number 5 team in the country. That's the reason why they're ranked so high. They get it done in so many ways.
Ranked 5th in the country this weekend. With wins like that, they just may keep moving up.
Yeah. I mean, Jay Wright understands that there's some work to be done. You got to implement a couple of younger players, but I think they're on pace right now. They're on track to where he wants them to be. Play 3 days from now against Lafayette. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Well, it helps to teach when you have a 113-77 win. Had a chance to get everyone involved, and the 5th-ranked Wildcats moved to 2-0 on the season. What a night it was here at Wells Fargo for the hometown Wildcats, who improved to 2-0 with the easy victory topping the century mark as they knock off Nicholls 113-77. We now send you out to Mike Hill at Marquette.